Hi there, welcome back to another video on business studies. We are in the topic of operations, and today we are going to the subtopic of capacity utilization and outsourcing. Okay, so let's start. So what is capacity utilization, right? So when you look at this picture, you see a man doing so many things, right? So I'm trying to relate this picture to the actual capacity utilization, which is actually quite relatable to you as a student as well. Okay, so this person seems productive, right? He looks as if he's doing everything at the same time, or he's trying to, but we know it's not something easy. So when we are working at full capacity, we are using our fullest capabilities to do everything. And normally, working at full capacity is assumed that we are also being very, very productive. Okay, so let's give you an example. For example, if you are a student and you have multiple assignments to complete, and you are able to produce or complete 3 assignments per day, and let's say that is your productivity level, all right, per day. So when you complete only 2 out of 3 per day, then it is assumed that you are not utilizing your full capacity, or it is basically underutilized, right? So in measuring capacity utilization, just to give you a simple idea, it is looking at the actual output, how much you are producing, over the potential output, how many assignments you could actually produce, which is 3. And of course, to make it a percentage, you times by 100%. So 2 out of 3 assignments completed gives you a capacity utilization of 66.67, right? And not 100 because you're not able to complete all 3. Now, sometimes it's quite hard for you to be very productive or to utilize your fullest potential, maybe because you're not well on that day, right? Or maybe you're just too stressed out with assignments and exams coming up and deadlines, right? So you're not able to complete. But this just gives you an idea that if you are able on a given day where you are able to produce a lot and your maximum capacity is 3, then you are at full capacity or fully productive when you're able to produce 3 assignments per day. Okay? Now, this is about you, right? So now let's talk about businesses. So we're going to talk about how to measure capacity utilization, which we have done just now briefly, and the same calculation will be used for a business as well. So in this picture, you see some construction workers moving materials here and there. Someone's holding the brick, someone's holding other materials, and you can assume that this is about producing a building or a house. Okay, so let's start. So the capacity utilization measurement uses the following formula that we have talked about just now: the current output level over the maximum output level times 100%. So looking at this picture, you can assume that at any given time, or maybe in a period of a month, a business would assume that with the amount of people and machineries available, they're able to produce 10 units of houses in a particular month or higher. Okay, let's just assume. So if let's say the current output per month is 6, the same goes as we spoke about just now about your assignment. You're able to produce 3, but you only complete 2, right? So in this case, the current output for this people who are producing houses is at 6 units, right? So the capacity utilization is 60% because 6 out of 10 that they should be producing gives them a 60% CU rate, right? Or capacity utilization rate. So is this good or bad? Let's talk about that, yeah? If these workers work at 100%, that means they produce 10 out of 10, then the fixed cost will be spread over a larger amount of houses, right? And that brings down the fixed cost for the house. So looking at this example, if it is assuming 10 houses equals to 100,000 spent on the fixed cost itself, then the average cost per house becomes only 10,000. But if they are producing 6 houses instead of 10, as what is happening right now, then the fixed cost will increase, which is now 16.7K or $16,700 per unit. So you can clearly see when they are able to produce more, but they are producing less than they are supposed to, then this also increases the average cost for the house. All right. So let's talk further. how will unit fixed costs vary with capacity utilization? So we spoke about that just now. Let's go a little bit deeper with an example here. Here is a 100-bed hotel, and on the next column you see all beds as occupied 100% or 50% occupied or 50 bedrooms occupied. So the hotel fixed cost per day, rent, salaries that they pay, they are fixed, is $2,500 per day. The same goes whether it is a 50-bedroom or a 100 rooms occupied. The cost remains the same. Yeah. The average fixed cost per room per day is 25, but if it's at a lesser capacity, the fee is higher, which is $50 per day. Right? This is the same example mentioned to you before. The hotel has a fixed cost every single day, but when it is underutilized or fully utilized, that affects the fixed cost, right? So you want it to be fully utilized, so it brings down the average fixed cost per day of 20 to 25 and not 50 here, which is only 50% occupied. Okay. Now, the high rate of capacity reduces the fixed cost, is what we spoke about just now. The low rate increases the fixed cost. So when the business have a lowered fixed cost, they have more margin to actually enjoy more profits, right? So this they can also put, for example, if they're working at full capacity or the business is fully occupied or the rooms are fully taken up, there is no vacancy signs that tell people that, wow, this hotel is in demand. It also tells you that employees may also feel happy knowing that the hotel is fully booked, so my job is pretty much secured, all right? There is good and there is also bad, right? So in this example, if the 100-bed hotel is fully occupied, then definitely you are not able to take on more capacity or more customers. Workers who are working at full capacity, then they may also experience burnout, may not show up to work the next day. And when they see that, wow, this hotel is fully in demand, yet I'm not getting an increase in my salary, then you can expect some, demand increase in salaries and also some strikes, right? Machines, if applicable in this scenario, will be working at full capacity, and that will also impact the wear and tear of the machines. But of course, it's not necessary that a business should avoid full capacity. It's just that they have to prepare and anticipate what should be done, right? To cater to such a demand. So perhaps proper scheduling of workers, keeping backup workers just in case for, peak demands. In a more serious manner, then they could also look at expansion, right? Having another branch nearby or expanding the hotel if that is possible. But that is more of a long-term kind of a decision because it will have more financial impact towards that. Yeah. Spare capacity has its weaknesses as well, right? It basically tells you that in the case of the 50 bedrooms being occupied as opposed to the 100 bedrooms, there are also some weakness in that, right? It means that the cost will continue rising because the rooms are not fully occupied. And this is going to be a cost that the business will have to, carry on as opposed to enjoying profits when it is not fully utilized. Okay then, now it's a wrap. Let's look at an example. Sorry about that. I was just going through to just look through what's in the next slides. If a business has an annual production capacity of 50,000, what would be the rate of capacity if its annual production is 20,000 units and 60,000 units? So the steps in answering this question is to first remember what is the formula, which is the current output level over maximum output level. And then you perform the calculation. In this instance, for 20 and 60 is already calculated here. So you have a capacity utilization rate of 40 and 120%, right? So with a maximum capacity of annual production capacity of 50,000, when it is producing 20,000 units, we know that it is under capacity, or it is, there would be spare. But when it's producing at 60,000, then we know it is overutilized, right? So we also got to look at explaining our answers, right? So at 20,000 production capacity, the rate is 40%, which is well below the annual production capacity. This means that capacity is underutilized. At this point, fixed cost is spread higher over each unit of production, making it more costly to produce each unit and reduce profits. Over here, you have 60,000 units, and this means it is above or exceeded the annual production. And this is also called overutilized. At this point, fixed cost is spread lower over each unit of production, and this will definitely increase profits. However, capacity utilization, overcapacity, that resources used to produce a higher volume than intended could be stretched, and the quality of output could also be reduced. So, which means that if production, the annual capacity is at 50,000 and we are able to produce more, that is well and good, but we've also got to look at the resources used to produce more, whether it is able to accommodate producing more than it's supposed to, right? So which means machines wear and tear, laborers who are expected to work, or workers are expected to work overtime to produce more than it's supposed to. So those things should also be looked into. Now, this is the end of today's lesson. We have more coming up in this CU subtopic, and until then, have a great day ahead.